So it's been another interesting day, as always. Um, Still trying to get my little studio area set up, but I just discovered something really cool. So tonight I go to, get some stuff together in the closet or whatever. And of course my daughter, she come around the corner and I just ended up stuck in here. And I ain't gonna lie to you, like in my opinion, this kind of feel better than, the little studio I was trying to set up on the other side of the house. Um, it's, you know, I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you, I can get the kids or whatever. My son, that man, he's so cool, man. He's so autopilot. But yeah, my daughter, she got a little designated area in here where, man, I'll be folding stuff, I'll be putting stuff up, and she come right behind me. Mm, and she'll unfold stuff. So I got like a little area where she could just kind of, while I'm doing everything, she can kind of do her thing. It's almost like I get to multitask. And that's the thing. Um, that's the thing about being a housewife too. Um, you got to be innovative. You got to be innovative, and you gotta, what's the word? You gotta adapt. Adapting is a major thing, which is crazy because like you got like modern. I don't want to use that buzz term, modern women, but you got like working women who, they just kind of, you know, move to the beat of their own drum. And I guess I get where they're coming from. But I just feel like, you know, women, we adapt to a lot of things. We adjust to working, we adjust to going to school. When I was doing all those things, I figured I'm doing that so that one day I could be free. I just felt like the whole point of doing all that work was so that I could ultimately end up living the life that I want to live. And it's fun to I don't know, make money, travel and all that other stuff, but and I'm just speaking from a woman's perspective. Um I just feel like being married, taking care of your kids, um I don't know what else is there. You know what I mean? I understand there are some people who are not they're not having much luck in the whole mating and dating game, so it gets difficult for them to figure out what they're doing. But for me, it was always very simple. I thought we were going to school working so we could sit down somewhere ultimately because life be life, and I'm gonna check out these chats. I think it's Jacoby say, Jesus Christ is God. Do you believe it? Then I got Samantha Bateson. Have a good day, my friend. Okay, you too. Thanks for tuning in. Um, I made a new rule because I've been getting trolled, y'all. So if you don't have no profile pickup, I don't answer your questions unless I think they cool. Um, but Jacoby, I hope you good luck on your Jehovah's Witness adventure. Statistics show that happiest women in the world are married with children. Yeah, that's cool. You know, I I kind of agree with that statistic. I mean, I thought that was the whole point of women getting an education and everything, which I don't know, maybe that might be like counterproductive, but I when I was going to school and stuff, I figured, I don't want to be no dumb woman. No offense to women that didn't go to school, but I just felt like if I don't want to be with a guy who's not smart, a guy who's not educated, a guy who doesn't have money, doesn't have his stuff together, then I should have my stuff together. That's just how I felt, So, now I was lucky enough to have two parents and stuff who taught me like you can't ask for nothing you can't do for yourself. Like that's something that they taught me. So, which I just kind of feel like that kind of goes without saying, but I just feel like I don't know, like you have to learn how to adapt, you have to learn how to adjust. You have to do that anyway in life, you know. Um and my whole thing is, would I rather adjust to like my boss, trying to make a check, or would I rather adjust to somebody that I'm committed to for the rest of my life? You know what I mean? And then the thing about being married too is you pick the person that you want to marry. You know what I mean? So it just felt like it would just make more sense, like, for my set of values to go towards complementing the man that I would want to marry. Um, I've actually had a lot of friends who, I was working and, other women that I used to hang out with. And, um, as we got older, now we're in our 30s or whatever. A lot of us met when we were in our teens and 20s. And, one of my friends, she really shocked me because she was like, oh, I ain't never, I never thought about marriage. It just never crossed my mind. Like, I never thought about being married. I never thought about having children. And for me, that was weird. And I'm not trying to ostracize any woman that doesn't have that feeling. But at the same time, I'm like, what's the point? Especially if you're like, you know, intimate with men. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. Like, because if you think about it, let's just say from a woman's perspective, right? Like, you're out here, you're going out, you're dating, you're going from guy to guy, whatever. Ultimately, I thought the goal was to pick one and sit down somewhere. That's what I thought, you know. Um, but for a lot of women in my age group and younger, they're not looking for that. Like, even, shout out to Jacoby when he said, statistics show the happiest women in the world are married with children. I don't know. Maybe I got a theory. Maybe women are just so addicted to consuming. Like, I don't know where you guys are, but I'm here in the United States, and um, we got the public school system, kindergarten through 12th grade. Then after that, you go to college, and it's like your education is like pretty much handed to you. So it's like your K through 12. That's like a given. That's public school, and then you got um, what you call it. You got college, which you could just take out a bunch, a bunch of loans. Now, I mean, they don't do no credit background check or nothing, and I mean that's been like the I don't want to say the come up for a lot of people, but there are a lot of people here in the United States who are like freaking out because they were able to just get all these loans fresh out of high school, right? And it's like a lavish lifestyle. Like, there's no wonder that the women in the United States, especially those who have gone to college, feel like they don't need a man. There's no wonder in that because the government just hands us everything. Like, and this is why I'm so patriotic too, because I don't know any, let me speak like I have some sense. I don't know any other country in the world where people could just make poor decisions and they know that the government is going to make sure they have housing or make sure they have food. Like, everywhere else, if you don't make the cut, you get cut. If you don't get your food, you don't eat. Like everywhere else in the world. Only here in the United States, you got people who are just negative. Like, they're so anti-America, but they're so dependent on the system. It never ceases to amaze me. So going back to this whole, being educated, going to school, getting a good job, it's like I didn't really go the traditional route. I didn't go like straight from high school into college. I went from high school, military, then college. Um, and I mean, I got to experience life a little bit. But when I was in college, I realized very quickly that my colleagues from high school and then people from like people that I was going to college with, they never really had to like worry about rent ever. Like they could just pull a student loan and they pay for it. Like never had to worry about down payment on a car, none of that stuff. Cause you could just pull out a loan and get that. You want to go overseas, you want to get a passport over the summer, you could pull out a student loan and do that. Like this whole hot girl summer conversation they have a lot on the internet. Now I wasn't doing that when I was in college. I was like, I'm not gonna rack up a whole bunch of debt because again, I was thinking one day I'm gonna want to get married and I'm not gonna have this high price tag for my husband to consider before getting married. And I mean, I married a very smart man because when we were dating, that was like one of the first things he asked about. You know, he was like, he asked about my education level, and then he asked, how much do I owe in student loan debt? And that's a trend that is going on right now on the internet. But Josh, my husband, he's been on that. You know, there were even women that he told me about that. He said, he liked them, but couldn't get serious with them because their debt was out of control, right? So, with that being said, now I'm starting to understand the other side of it too, like how a lot of the women who be like they don't need a man here in the States, it's also the fact that a lot of times they'll get rejected by guys who are actually trying to be in a meaningful relationship. Like a man of substance is not gonna, deal with a woman that has over $50,000 in debt. He's not gonna. Why would he work so hard just to get with a woman who has that kind of debt on them, and he's worked hard to keep his debts down or not have debts at all, right? These are things that I don't think that women really think about because we don't have to compete as rigorously as men do. Like for men, they know that if they don't make the cut, they don't make it. Women, if we don't make the cut, let's just be real. There's always some guy out there who's willing to cut us some slack. Always. Like we always have that safety net. Here in the States, we have, you know, um, the welfare office. It's practically giving away food, giving away housing. The churches, they help women all the time. The shelters. I think the majority of homeless shelters in the United States are for women. And I think there's priority for women with children. Men's homeless shelters are very few and far between. And the majority of them, I think they get some kind of funding, some kind of special funding. So, like, if they don't have that funding, the men can't get anything, right? Um, so, anyway, I just felt like when I was going to school, the whole point was for me to compete with other women to get the opportunity to be with a man of substance. That's what I thought it was. I was super green. A lot of my colleagues, they were like, you only really need man for a baby. And I thought that was crazy because I was like, when you have a baby, you need the man to help you raise that child or whatever, right? But evidently, I missed the memo because they were like, you don't need him. If you're getting paid a certain amount of money, what do you need the man for? And I used to laugh it off when I was younger because I just thought it was crazy, especially when you would hear about people's childhoods. Oh my gosh! And this is another thing too. When do we ever get to a point where it's not our parents' fault no more? Like, I would hear people complain about how their parents didn't do certain things for them or their parents weren't there or whatever. And then, they'd be super old, just kicking back, chilling. Shout out to Ronaldo. They'd be super old. Like you'd be like 50 years old still talking about like what your parents did. And it's like, dude, like when does it get to a point where you're making your own decisions? But anyway, I just figured if the same people complained, then they would do something different. So I'm the only one watching. Okay, that's cool. It's a live. It's you can go in and out if you want to. Um, I just tune in at night. Appreciate you. Shout out to Ronaldo. So yeah. Um. So when chicks was telling me, oh, you don't need a man, you just having a kid, it was like, yo, that's kind of crazy. But now I fast forward to where it's like this is a real thing. Like single parents, you know, they that's a thing. That's like a culture here. That's like the norm. Like deciding that you're gonna raise your kid on your own, especially as women, that's like normal. So anyway, um, I was just talking about how I just thought that everybody was just raising their family and that's it. I thought the school system was designed to educate us so we could be intelligent, but I guess not. I guess I'm seeing that it's just we just have the school system so that we can have the papers, so that we could be able to say, yeah, you can read, you can write, things like that. But as far as us becoming more functional as human beings, that's not a thing, right? So yeah, like I get it. I mean, I can see from the perspective of women here in the United States, like when they go, oh yeah, you know, you can always just fill out some paperwork if you need any help, and then you'll be fine. You don't need the support of the other parent. They would make you think that. Like they would really make you think that. Now we fast forward to the pandemic. The pandemic was crazy because it was like everybody was just upset. It was like the whole gender war, the red pill thing. And I was just like, I used to watch YouTube and I ain't gonna even lie to y'all. I'm still kind of new to social media and the internet. I did not know this was like real world people. I did not know. I thought, like, I thought this was, I treated it like it was cable TV. So when people were talking about like this whole statistic that 80% of the women are attracted to only 20% of men, I'm like, who's who's doing it? Like everybody has these random numbers and these statistics, and they're all upset about it and they're all buzzing about it, right? And I'm sitting here like, that's really a thing. Like people are really feeling that. Like at the time, me and Josh, we were on the road. Just stacking money during the pandemic. We knew something had to be funny because we were just making money during the pandemic. We were just stacking. There was like no competition. My husband and I, we were truck drivers before we had the kids, and now I'm home with the kids. But it was like the roads were empty. We were able to go to all of our appointments early. Um, we just kept watching the news on how people were like looting and raiding and all this other stuff. The whole George Floyd situation went down and all that. And we just took it upon ourselves to go to a grocery store. And it was so surreal because we never thought we would go up and down the aisle and not see toilet paper. Like that was wild for us. Like the whole world was shut down. I'll be honest with you. It felt like the whole world was shut down except for us. It was like us and I don't know who else. Everybody else was in a panic. Fast forward to now, it's like okay, pandemic lifted. Everybody's doing their thing. People are talking about having to take the jab to keep their job and all that. Economy is just falling apart these days in the states. Renting a home makes more sense than owning a home. The American dream is like not even a thing for the majority of people right now. So, you know, I'm going through multiple culture shocks, y'all. So many culture shocks because I've seen other people in their 30s growing up, and I was like, yeah, in your 30s, you own a home, you and your wife have your own car, you got your kids. I never would have thought of an age like this where people are using credit cards to buy groceries. Groceries. People are going into debt to get food. Like, for me, it's kind of is sort of scary because, especially the way that I grew up in a very stable environment compared to most people. I had my parents. We lived in a neighborhood for the most part before my mother got sick. Um, so I got the feel of, growing up having like a household. Um, like I was sheltered too. I didn't even know that there were kids growing up with only one parent. I mean, the only time I thought there was a single parent situation, something had to go terribly wrong. Either uh, one of the parents had to pass away. I assumed that all parents were married. Like I was like super sheltered, like super sheltered. So if you could only imagine, like most people, they know what it's like to grow up with a step parent or to grow up with just a single parent, typically just them and their mom. So I'm removed from that. And then on top of that, most people, they struggle through school and stuff like that or whatever. There are a lot of exceptions I had, but especially with this whole pandemic thing, I did not experience the pandemic, y'all. I'll be honest. I did not experience the pandemic. I did not the whole mask mandate. For me, the job that I was working in was optional. Me and Josh, we were working together. We didn't have to wear a mask. When we would go to stores and stuff and they would flip out because we didn't have a mask, we thought they were joking. Like, that's how serious it was. Like, we would go to places and we'd have to stand outside because you have to be 6 feet apart from each other. Like, sometimes I think of like family members who passed before the pandemic, and I'm like, I don't mean to sound cold by saying this, but I'm kind of grateful that they didn't have to go through that. You know what I mean? Like, especially like the older family members, like, some of my elders who passed before the pandemic. Um, I couldn't imagine how I would be, fearing for them the way that the news were reporting about, elderly people, people with compromised immune systems, all this good stuff. Not good stuff, but all the details. But anyway, so now this is where we are. Um, a lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of people are getting laid off. A lot of people can't make ends meet. And then I'm starting to see an uptick of people getting on social media, trying to be an influencer now, and this is a completely different life than what I thought I was going to have. Completely different. Um, cuz I used to think that getting married meant that that was automatically going to put me in a community of married people. Like automatically I would be, I don't know, immersed, like, like most people who are single, there's like always a community for like single people, like even single parents. Um, Let me see. It said I will donate you 5K if you go on your PC and play. No, thank you. Appreciate the chat though. But anyway, um, when I was growing up, it was in a traditional environment where you have men going to work, and then you have women staying at home, taking care of the community, taking care of the kids, all this other stuff, right? Like the women were like the driving force of that community. Um, and the men they were like the authorities of the community. It was pretty standard. So then I thought this would be like this is life. And now I'm starting to realize like no, we live in like a computer age now where people are connecting online. People like it's so crazy. I had a neighbor like so on Facebook they have like the whole nearby function where they um they help you find your friends based off of who's nearby. And I just kind of clicked that button and I had a neighbor that me and her were like really cool. And she was like right around the corner from me. And we have a lot in common. And I've seen this lady at the grocery store, at the local grocery store, so many times, and we never even made eye contact. Like we would just walk past each other, and which is really sad. I'm in the South. I'm in North Carolina. You say hey to everybody, but even these days, even in North Carolina, you gotta be careful whoever you say hey to because pandemic made everybody scared of breath. So it was like, I had to adjust to that. I had to adjust to that. So it was like, okay, there's a whole different culture now. There's a whole different attitude now. Um, there is no community of husbands and wives. I'm starting to think that's antiquated. I'm starting to think that's like, at least in the States anyway. Like, and I don't want to go to no other country. You know, I'm not interested in any other country. All due respect to all the other countries in the world, but I feel like if so many people are trying to get to the States, must be something good going on here. And I'm gonna just be even deeper than that. My lineage, my family has been here. My bloodline has been here for over 400 years. So I'm like, you know, every country has its ups and downs, but my lineage has been here for so long. Like I'm not really interested anywhere else because of that. So that's that. But it's like the thing that I like about America too is that it's always an evolving culture. It's not a set thing. Um Even now like everything is changing, everything's going to AI. Like it's not there's no more human connections. Like there's no more social norms. There's only, what everybody is doing what everybody is doing online. Like I think that's because the whole world is now starting to contract into one bandwidth of people. Like that's that's what it's becoming. So for me, I was doing this as like a hobby. I'm not really thinking of, YouTube as like, oh my God, I might be able to make a bag or whatever. It's just to understand like what is life now? Like it's not what it used to be. Like going outside saying hey to a neighbor, that's not a thing anymore. Like I used to be scared of it, but now I'm like this is like the new normal. Like I connect with people on the internet better than I do in my own family, which is, I don't know if that sounds bizarre, but that's what it's become, you know? Like there's so many social groups, like even on the internet, you can't be wrong. Like if somebody like this is why like I get so excited when I get a troll because when I get a troll, it just makes me feel like oh I'm doing something that's getting on somebody's nerves. I don't even know who they are. You know what I mean? And then a lot of times they got an avatar. They don't even have a picture of themselves or whatever. And I'm like, wow, I'm just out here talking. I'm just out here expressing my thoughts, hoping to connect to other thinking people and get better at what I'm doing here. And then somebody finds the opportunity to be mean on the internet. It's like, oh. um, but that's what time period we're in. Like, if you don't have a virtual footprint, if you don't have a sorry, not virtual, a digital footprint, it's like you just you're done. It's like that's how it is. If you don't get with the times. I wanted to say this too. I had a friend. I think we're still friends, but I have a weird way of maintaining my friendships at times. Anyway, she used to say to me all the time that I was like her only friend, which was weird to me because on the internet she had thousands, thousands of friends. Like thousands. Like um any social media platform you pull her up and she's connected to thousands of people. And she would spend hours talking to me on the phone in real life or even hanging out at my house sometimes. And I thought that was weird because I'm like, don't you got thousands of people to entertain? And for the life of me, I could not understand how could you be connected on social media with so many thousands of people but have absolutely no kind of human connection. And I think I'm starting to see it because people are completely different on the internet than they are in person. Like how I talked about my neighbor around the corner, we never, if it wasn't for social media, we probably never would have known each other. Probably would have never known each other's interests or anything. We into the same stuff. We almost sisters. We don't look nothing alike, but boy, when I be talking, she be like, "Oh yeah, I was thinking that," and it's crazy. It took for Wi-Fi for us to, for us to like click, and that's what we're getting to. Like, so anyway, I can go on and on about this stuff, but I'm just kind of testing this out, and I appreciate everybody who stopped in and everything. Still getting the hang of this YouTube thing, and Ronaldo, I'll probably figure out what he was talking about, like getting some kind of 5K computer or whatever. But I'm just trying to get the hang of this thing. Um, I got my two kids in the background, so trying to make sure I go live in a way to where I can still look out for them and take care of them and still do this because after all, this is a hobby. It's something that I truly enjoy. Positive, negative feedback, all feedback is good to me because at least I'm connecting with folks. That's one thing I like to do at the end of the day. When I'm done running my errands, taking care of the house and everything else, balancing the books, at night I like to, kick back and figure out what's the temperature on the YouTube streets, if you will. Um, and my daughter, she done went to sleep. So I just want to say thank you to all y'all who stopped in because I got to multitask. So now that she's asleep, I can go on here and put her down. And I have to say, I think I'm getting the hang of this thing though, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. And I'm gonna get the hang of this live thing though. I am like, so I know live at night as long as I'm in the process of putting Jazz to sleep. Because last time I went on live, oof, like she was not playing. I mean, she grabbed this camera stand so many times. So I was like, yeah, I'm about to go ahead and end the live, which I felt so bad because people were in the chat and I was chatting with everybody. I was having such a good time. But yeah, I'm gonna get the hang of it. But until next time, I appreciate y'all, and then I'll see y'all on the next live. Good night.